On. I'm a coming, boys. I'm a coming. Oh. Glasses on. Got my cup of tea. Gitron's just sent me, one of my mods has just sent me did CIG just plagiarize ED's SRB? Oh my god, I love that shit. I love it when another game was always like, they've stolen the art. I love that. I'll look into that later. What else have we got? That's funny shit. Let us tweet out and all that sort of jazz that I'm streaming. That's a good idea. Get to hear my internal brain processes now. My microphone might not be too loud at the moment. Let's gain up slightly on the here. And we'll work out if that's too low in a minute. Let's tweet out. Live now, talking about Star Citizen. Give it 10. And for content, all that, yes. Close Discord. Oh, actually, no, not Discord open for questions. Let's get rid of Twitter because Twitter does not filter very well, and you know, Twitter allows some things that should not be shown. Star Citizen. BoredGamer. Perfect. Nice. Get that up. Get that down. Bring this over here. Like fucking velvet. Nice. I mean, I've been inside for a long time now because of the lockdown, so I have tried it with everything. What are we talking about? Oh, my voice. Okay, yeah. I'm doing fine, thank you. If you'd like to ask a question during the live stream, question in brackets or topic in brackets to allow me to understand what you want to talk about. Let's turn the volume down a little bit on that. Make sure I've got all my tabs open that I want tabbed. Rid of this one because this is the same one opened again. Anything interesting that's happened so far this week? The Star Citizen, inside Star Citizen stuff. Got all devs later about PvP combat. Light model and combat changes. Oh, the banning message was we got pretty accurately. I say the Reddit community. We'll have a look at that. 3.10 stuff. La. Yeah, that goes. All right, is that good? I've sort of got my mic in shot because if I put it too far away, I'm worried it won't capture me properly, like a terrible Pokemon. Pokeball. You've got to maul Pokemon to get them inside the Pokeball. Hope everyone's doing all right. It is day 1 million of lockdown. Hard overhaul in 3.0, and I hope it's going to keep people playing. I mean, the HUD is going to be better. The UIs and HUDs and stuff are getting updated, and MFDs and all that sort of jazz. There's a load of changes in 3.10 that should hopefully put Star Citizen in a significantly better place when it's with its flight model and its combat model. Just done a few videos on that over the last few days. There's been a load of posts from CIG on the flight and combat model changes. 3.10 sees a load of them, but they're still going to keep on iterating, and there's still a lot more work to do, for sure. I do think they'll be in a very, very stable place by the end of the year. So, yeah, I think they're doing it on paper. The new flight model and the combat model stuff looks great. Are people going to enjoy the fixed weapon assist stuff? So that basically has, for example, if you're using fixed weapons on your ship or you're using a turret, you can have this mode on, which effectively, well, I think it's sort of like on by default. It takes the angular velocity of where you're aiming and where the target is, and sort of nudges your projectiles towards the target slightly more. A really, really subtle additional auto-aim, which means that shots that would typically miss now hit when you're in a turret or using fixed weapons compared to what they would previously. And sort of like helps balance the difference between auto gimbals and fixed weapons. But it also just makes turrets significantly more viable, as does all the other additional turret changes, making them more stabilized, allowing them to be recentered easily, things like that. I want to create some damn content as well, Bob Mitch, mate. I hope you're doing well as well. I haven't chatted to you properly in a while. I haven't really chatted to most other content creators in a while. I was going to twerk earlier today at Salty Mike earlier today, and he was like, "I haven't seen you in ages." So yeah, sorry. I've like been looking after family and stuff more recently. BoredGamer, I've always been wary of Star Citizen because of the negativity surrounding it, but after playing it a bit now, it can only go up from here. Such a great game, and alpha so far. So there's in some circles there's negativity surrounding it. With any sort of like games nowadays, really, there's a mixture of media critique versus hype, which you're going to get with any sort of like major or interested release. It's the super polarization of the media, which is absolutely fucking terrible, unfortunately. Typically, the Star Citizen community overall is pretty solid, but my favourite community I've ever been in, because they're typically older gamers and they're much more reasonable. That's not true of every area of the Star Citizen community. There are some bits of Reddit, there are some people on the forums and stuff like that are pieces of trash, in my opinion. However, I'm very much in the opinion everyone's entitled to their opinions as long as they remain civil. That's all I demand is civility. But I'm glad you enjoy it. Makes fuzz worry. I need to sort out my beard. I'll probably get some oils. I'll see how. I don't want it too long, but I don't mind it being a bit longer. Maybe. I don't overly mind a beard. Like, I just don't want it to encroach on my daily life. I don't want to get stuff on it every time I have a drink or eat. If barbecue sauce is a constant smell of my beard, actually that sounds lovely. The scam continues. Scam citizen. I remember when I got suckered into the scam. Lol. Now more fun than anything. Star Citizen cult of fun to goad. That doesn't seem very civil and nice. Greasy midget. They're fun to goad. Why would you do this? People enjoy playing a game, whatever, not really hurting anyone else. However, I do think Star Citizen is genuinely going to be pretty good. I mean, a lot of people are getting a lot of fun out of it already. You compare it to a proper game that's not alpha, then you're going to be like, no, released game is better. Yes, it is better. I just find it weird that people get so polarized about things like that. It just seems such an odd activity. Why not go play Apex Legends and be good at that or something? Goad people by being good at things. Going, haha, lol, I debagged you when you were after I shot you or whatever. Rather than, haha, I'm better than you because I think it's a scam. Good job. Well done. I'm proud of you. I'm not. That was a lie. What are your thoughts on the new mining vehicle that may or may not be in the game at some point? Yeah, so we've been talking about the Greycat Industrial Rock Miner for a few days now. Started at some leaks originally. Got some data mined info and some info potentially from devs or something. And drew a little picture of it and stuff. It looks like it may potentially be in 3.10 for the live build. We'll have to wait and see if it does make the live build. Yeah, I like the idea of a new little rock miner. I can't talk too much about it at the moment, but once it's been revealed properly, assuming that it is going to be in 3.10 live, then we'll talk more about it. The Titan suits. So Titan suit. Let's bring it up on the screen. Titan suit, as far as I'm aware, is not in 3.10. I wish it was. Let's bring this up for you. And we see on the Squadron 42 roadmap still the cards. What are they? No, they haven't discontinued it. That's good. So, if we go to... actually, where was? Yeah. So we got Titan suits. Where was Titan suits? Where's the cool picture of the Titan suit? Bear with me. Can't be a Cortec. Bear with me 1 second. Titan suit. Ah, Suite-san. No, not Titanfall, silly. They've been working on Titan suits for a little while. They've been working on Titan suits for a little while. They are big old suits of armor, closer to an Iron Man suit slash power loader than anything else. A huge suit of armor, not a mech, but I mean it's getting there. You can see they're like sort of like 1 3/4 size of a human. And you pilot inside it, and you've got a big like vehicle weapon that you can carry around with it. I think it's the idea. We're waiting for them to show us more on them. They, as far as I'm aware, completed for Squadron 42's needs. Citation needed. But I really like the look of them. I think they're pretty cool. It was on the top of the column, but I wanted the picture. I didn't want the grey one inside it. Yeah, Titan suits. They're going to be used for combat. Maybe there'll be some utility to them as well. I'd love to see them as power loaders too. I sort of it implies that they're going to have that functionality, but this is very much sort of concepted. The pictures we have of it anyway. They've definitely tried them out in game in sort of white box, and they've talked about them having. They gave them size 1 ship weapons originally, 1 on each arm, and they were just too long. They couldn't move properly. So I think they're giving it like a single size 1 weapon or a vehicle weapon that can sort of carry around like that. Do you think a lot of media-based negativity also has to do with CIG choosing to crowdfund and develop their game in a sort of unconventional way, where they're only beholden to their backers and not some massive corporate publisher? Partly. I think it's an easy target, and it's easier to criticize something than do heavy amounts of research. Obviously, the people that are writing a large amount of the media are not fans of Star Citizen at all. They're not invested in the project. They're not interested in the project. They're interested in creating articles. They're interested in creating clicks and views on their media, and sort of that specifically will generate a different type of article compared to someone that's a fanboy or someone that's really done a huge amount of research. And also, when you're doing those sort of articles, you are researching specific things. You'll have a checklist, and a lot of the stuff when people cover Star Citizen will be Star Citizen controversy. It will be stuff that Forbes has printed about it is a business going, oh, I wouldn't invest in this business. However, obviously the Calder brothers disagree. They've put quite a lot of money into it now. Calders. So it's an interesting thing. I think the overcritical media, it's not even critical. Critical's fine. It's this sensationalist aggression towards certain ideas and projects and ideals and stuff, and go, well, what? So a common thing will be, well, they've got no reason to ever release the game. What? What are you talking about? Of course they have. They make loads more money when they release a game. They've got no reason to release an alpha then. In that, why even release the playable alpha? They're releasing a playable alpha and updating it every 3 months. That's them trying to release a game. It might be slow. Squadron 42, they need to release that really within the next 18 months. Probably sooner than that, in my opinion. Because otherwise they will lose a lot of sort of like clout from them sort of pushing and saying that they're working on Squadron 42. But if they keep on delaying it any further, that is dangerous territory for them, in my opinion. Jaden Cattrall, thank you so much for the sub. Very much appreciated. For those of you that want to further support the channel, you can do that with the YouTube membership /join button. You can do that with Twitch subbing. You can do that with Patreon. You can do that with direct donation. It's all super appreciated. Super chats, all that sort of jazz. Anyone that does super chat, your question or whatever message you put out does flash on my screen, I will read it out immediately. But you do not need to give me money or bits or send me super chats or anything to have your question asked or answered. You can literally just... my head is dissolving. I'm reaching my final form. Bear with me. That better? Yes, it is. Less shiny, less dissolvey. You don't need to send me any money to have your question asked. I will come to it eventually. I might be quite behind in chat though, so bear with me. Feel free to ask your question again every few minutes, but make it a long time between asking, because I'm probably going to be 10-15 minutes behind, and I'll come to your question, and I don't want to come to it 32 times, or less, or more. Wave 1 PTU this weekend. What do you think is possible? So I would have thought they would have released Wave 1 PTU by like Wednesday this week. I was like sure of it earlier. If there's any blockers, so as soon as they finished getting any other EVOCATI first wave PTU blockers done, they'll go to first wave PTU. I've talked to people at CIG quite regularly, and there's apparently go-no-go meetings, release candidate potential every day over the last few days. So it's whenever they've got a release candidate that meets their requirements, they'll then go to first wave PTU. What did you think of the RSI Odin? I think we need a ship named after you. How do you feel about the Loki? So am I trickstery enough to be a Loki? So for people that don't know, the Star Citizen Leaks have talked about a RSI gunboat called the Odin, 100 meter, just over 100 meter long, sort of like big gunboat, pew pew pew, lot of gun, not much else. Guns, shields, armor. Pretty focused as a role. Have to see whether or not that appears in the future. I like the idea of it. I like some focused gunboats. Wish we could get full mechs. What do you think? They've got the right people working for them to push for mechs. They've got people that have worked on MechWarrior Online and that sort of stuff that love mechs. So in the future, in the far future, in many years' time, I would expect to see probably some sort of mechy type thing in Star Citizen anyway, because they're like, keep on adding more and more content when the game's been launched. Have CIG ever gone into detail about whether the beta for Squadron 42 will be closed EVOCATI beta or closed beta to those that own it? So the only thing that I'm aware of for Squadron 42 beta is that it's planned to be an internal beta. They might release a build for the EVOCATI, is what Aaron Roberts said, before the game goes live, just to make sure that it's got all the bugs hammered out. Did they say they will add more server locations? Are you talking specifically about country-wise? Basically, as far as I'm aware, the AWS, the Amazon Web Services or servers, or whatever it is, it will be incredibly scalable and deal with server locations pretty well. However, they did say a while ago they would split the potentially split areas into regions if they had to. It's going to be based on their server meshing tech. It's going to be based on what state of the technology the world's in when they get to the point where server meshing's a thing. Did your dad like the steak he made him? Yes, he did. He enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed mine very much as well. It was absolutely fucking delicious. He did, however, say that it was too rich for him at the moment. If I want to do any more steaks from the future, wait a little while. I was like, cool, no worries. His diet's heavily changed now. He finds stuff a lot richer than he typically would. Lots of weird side effects to his medication. Sort of like he's got allergies to everything, like minor allergies to everything. And like food and everything tastes different and things like that. So I'm trying to find him things he likes. Ginger. I've got him lots of Cornish farings and things and biscuits and things now. But thank you for asking. My dad's doing well. Appreciate it. I was watching Salty Mike earlier, and he. I love Twerk. I love Salty Mike. I love the fact he's honest and blunt and comes from the heart. And you sort of like see his evolution of what he's thinking as he thinks it. And he's willing to change his opinions and stuff as you talk to him, which is great. And he tells you how he sees it, how he feels, as he feels it, which is fantastic. And he was having a bit of a rant about he doesn't really know how to treat his chat when they say anything that's a leak, because he's trying to avoid the leaks because he's an EVOCATI member. And does he have to police that? And if so, to what extent? And it's a bit unclear. So I've poked CIG for some clarity and clarification on that now, because I was like, that's actually fair enough. I don't want to have to worry about leaks. Like, I know Star Citizen would prefer no content creators to cover any leaks at all, but they don't really. At the end of the day, I want to cover leaks that aren't EVOCATI leaks, because I want to have all the Star Citizen news covered on my channel. That's why people come and watch my stuff. They want a clear, concise. This is what's happening with Star Citizen, and then sometimes I do the more fluffy, talking about an individual feature or whatever, as well. But I want a one-stop shop for Star Citizen, and I'm even hampered by the fact I can't cover EVOCATI leaks because I'm an EVOCATI member, which technically I could potentially cover EVOCATI leaks to the letter of the law, because they're public domain after they've been leaked by someone else. Like in the same way that Intel leaks and Intel members cover Intel leaks, even though they're not supposed to cover the leaks. But they can cover the leaks because they're not leaking them themselves. You see what I mean? But there needs to be clarity on that, and I don't want to burn the hand that feeds me. I don't want to bite the hand that I've set on fire that feeds me, or something like that. So this footage is from CitizenCon 2019, and is of the pyro jump point and all that sort of jazz. Potentially we could have pyro at the end of this year if we're really lucky, though that looks a little bit less likely now. It looks more like a Q1 2021 thing, but I will retire from work in 5 years, and I bet Star Citizen will still be an alpha by then. We'll make it a bet, Voss. Make it a bet. I'll dress up as a Japanese schoolgirl again, if it's not released in 5 years. If it's not released by the middle of 2025. If it's still an alpha. If it's still an alpha in the middle of 2025, Star Citizen's Persistent Universe, I will dress up as a Japanese schoolgirl, especially for you. Don't you worry. Have you been playing 3.10? Yes. Is it more stable? Can't talk about that. Although, expect it to be more stable. The plan is for it to be more stable. Yeah? They've been building back-end, building redundancy for the back-end sort of side. And there's a lot of improvements that they've been working on for 3.10. I can't talk about specifics of EVOCATI patches, but we wouldn't know anyway until the live build, because there could be more bugs and problems that turn up. What tea am I drinking? I drink just a black tea. A nice standard black tip. Basically PG tips. I can't remember what brand it is. Now, 3.10 isn't out until July sometime. That's true. They said that they were targeting the live build of 3.10 for July. I would expect it early July. I'm hoping that Wave 1 drops today, but we don't know. What else have we got here? I've heard rumours of a big delay. If there is a delay, how long do you think before 3.10? Rumours of a big delay for what? I mean, the Star Citizens certainly had big delays previously. There's no major 3.10 delay as far as I'm aware. What was that thing Jared was talking about at the end of Inside Star Citizen's video? So there's a lot of extra stuff in 3.10 that isn't on the roadmap from the sort of like tradie app, bam, to literally enabling you to send Alpha UEC to another player. You can search for them. They don't have to be online. Bam. Which is really quite big for Star Citizen. Obviously, Star Citizen leaks have talked about the Grey Cat Rock potentially being in 3.10 Live. I'll have to wait and see if that does 100% go into 3.10 Live. But I would expect that to be unveiled pretty soon. It looks pretty accurate to me. There's actually a reasonable amount of other stuff as well. Sort of like planetary improvements, stuff looking a lot prettier. I would expect some Easter eggs and stuff like that too. Yeah, so they are what we've seen of the transfer money system, the finance app, there was a small amount of tax on the transfer of money. So I'll have to wait and see exactly how that plays out. I play Star Citizen to escape. Why do clothes cost more than missiles in game? Good question. Clothes are not disposable. They're not a single use. You finally think we'll get some exploration gameplay before or with Pyro? So, really for exploration gameplay, we want a mixture of some of the dynamic universe sim stuff, points of interest, and scanning updates all to come together. They are working on all of that at the moment. But I want to be able to scan down points of interest, go and explore them, and have missions to explore them, and find things, and then share locational data. So exploration is a huge amount more than that, and touches on a huge amount more areas, including bits of science. So we're going to get more and more exploration with each patch, and at some point it will be its own gameplay loop. It's slightly less tangible at the moment when there's not much to hold it together. But there is stuff to explore in Star Citizen now. There'll be more to explore in 3.10. How much do you love Yogi? What? 7? How excited about 3.10's changes are you? So the finance app's amazing. The ability to purchase skins and paints in game is great. The combat and flight changes on paper look to be amazing, and we'll talk a lot about that once it's first wave PTU and live and all that sort of stuff. I think it's really important to get involved with that stuff. Who's your favourite flight model programmer? I quite like David Coulson. I can. Why? Where'd you go here, Dave? And ask you, what if I didn't say you? What if I didn't say you? Oh, that would be so. That would be so awkward. I hope you're doing well, mate. Oh, you are chunkery, mate. Why are people here? Look, get back to work. Get some work done, you idle buggers. Oh, I hope you're doing well, mate. I hope you're both doing well. It was John. So John Crew's been doing some chill streams, and they're very much not Star Citizen streams. They're not Star Citizen questions and answers or anything like that. They are him building models, painting models, chatting about the hobby, with his beautiful grumpy face. I know you're not grumpy, but you have a resting bitch face, which is lovely. Which you can't teach. But they're actually pretty cool and pretty chill. And they're for Games Workshop sort of games typically, like him building models and things. He was building a Star Drake earlier from Age of Sigmar, from Stormcasters, isn't it? I don't play. I haven't played Age of Sigmar, but I like the models. I've got a lot of the models still. But want to be doing some 40k stuff in the future. I'm literally building an army for 40k 9th edition. Loads of mounted 90 boys, they knights, 40k. So the Mechanicum I've converted out of some Age of Sigmar models. Sort of like all running around shooting stuff. For Adaptus Mechanicus. But that's and I've got loads of Cerestus, the big boy knights, which I haven't built yet. But I want to go up and play some 40k games with some of the people in Winslow in Manchester, some of the Winslow studio people. Not as a Star Citizen thing, but as a, I want to play 40k because I love that sort of stuff. It's, yeah, I quite enjoy your streams, John. They're pretty chill, and you are my favourite, David. You are my favourite flight model maker, programmer, programmer. Is that what you do? Is it just program? Or I don't know the difference between programming and implementation really. One's more codey. Can we expect the Idris mission in 3.10? I cannot confirm that. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Don't know if it's going to be in for 3.10. I hope it is. I've not seen anything to confirm that it is. Hey, Bored, have you heard of the YouTuber called Cobra TV? Yes, I used to watch his No Man's Sky stuff, and I've seen that he is going to be looking at more and more Star Citizen stuff. Claimed one of your past tutorials to stall the pirates didn't work. Maybe they're out of date. Bored looks like my doppelganger. Maybe it looks like my doppelganger, hey? Do you think about that? Who's going to get mistaken for who, though? Yeah? Why doesn't it look... My auto mod doesn't like the word doppelganger. When will we get an Anvil motorized scooter? I want segways. There's segways. Topic server meshing. So server meshing is being worked on now, or at least the prerequisites for it are. So that's like things like iCache, that's things like the actor-to-client networking rework, that's more robust network code, that's server-side object container streaming being sort of like dialed in properly. There's a load of stuff they need to get done on their networking side and their back-end side and their database side all done and together, but they are working on all of that at the moment. There's modules and parts of server meshing for the static first stage server meshing being built in now and being tested, as far as I'm aware. And I think they wanted to be in a state by the end of this year where they were very close to being able to release the first stage of server meshing. Now, I would expect to see that potentially, first half of 2021, the first implementation of that, optimistically at the moment. That's what I want to do. I've realised what I want to do when I go up and play 40k. I want to do a barbecue and 40k event. I'll talk to Cameron about it at some point. I don't mind chucking money in for delicious barbecue. I bought this game a few years ago with my Mustang beta and Squadron 42, but I'm afraid it's going to end up like Daisy, that promise after promise and fell short. So, okay, that is a genuinely good criticism of Star Citizen. Now, will it fall short? Will Squadron 42 fall short? Will Star Citizen fall short? Because there are certainly going to be some areas and some modules and some features. Even if Star Citizen is an amazing game, there are certainly going to be some features and areas of Star Citizen that which you do not like, that you do think have fallen short, and other people think have fallen short, or are not the way that they intended for a mechanic to be, and not how they envisioned it. That is a genuinely good criticism, because the Star Citizen has a huge amount of hype, and it has a huge amount of people theory crafting, and a load of people that don't know how something's going to be implemented, thinking about how it's implemented, and then hyped up by people like me or someone else that talks about the way they want it, and that leads to potentially unobtainable standards with certain things. But I believe also that people can temper that with, set your expectations to unknown, but hope for the good stuff, and you can sort of evolve it. You're right, noob, mate. I appreciate the Wii-O. I need to look at your metrics at some point today. When I finish stream, I'll have a little nom nom and a little drink, and then I'll have a look at your metrics, mate. So me and noob bounce ideas off each other, and we used to do it a lot more regularly than we do at the moment. But hopefully with Star Citizen 3.10 and onwards, me, Salty Mike, and other people can start to do some content together. I think that would be a good shout. Love to screw up with you with some 40k table board. Heretical Mechanicum. They're not heretical. My Mechanicum are... my Mechanicum are just a... technically, it's a knightly household, is what I've actually built. I'm using the Mechanicum rules and a lot of the Mechanicum models and stuff. But it is effectively supposed to be a Cerestus focused knightly household. So this sort of like more fast, big boy Imperial Knights, and loads of cavalry. So that they actually are quite knightly in the way they sort of like act as well, and the sort of need for cavalry. So it's I am focusing. That's the basic focus of it, and then they're going to be geared to be relatively effectively on the tabletop. I'm not going to make broken lists for them that are just sort of super competitive, but they will be good. That will be geared to try and win. Typically slightly more cleverly than basically. Like I'm very good at maneuvering. I used to play a load of Warhammer Fantasy Battles tournaments, and got like top 5 pretty much every tournament I went in. I think I came second in a couple of them. This is like 10 years ago plus. Used to do loads of the Tempest Fugitives 30k stuff as well. Ah, cool. I'm glad you sorted your SEO at 95%. I'll talk more about how some of those metrics work if you want as well. So some people that don't know, you can use like TubeBuddy or vidIQ or something to read the metrics of YouTube videos, so you can see their tags and you can see how well they're doing, and you can see what sort of like YouTube is grabbing from their titles and their descriptions and stuff to SEO it to get it more traction. To some extent, it sort of like reveals effectively some of the metrics behind the algorithm, sort of. But it's good to talk to other YouTubers about that sort of stuff because it constantly changes. There's no 100% known right way of doing things, and testing and working out what a trend is sort of like something that you need to sanity check by talking to other people. Also, I do want to encourage more and more content creators to make content on Star Citizen and YouTube channels and whatever content they want. However, it is a lot harder to get traction on YouTube now than it used to be. And that being, even then, when I started, it was quite hard to get traction on YouTube than it was previously before that. So they're making it, at least at the moment, it's getting harder and harder to compete on YouTube unless you find a very, very good niche, or you have done something in a new way. Bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to bio. I might grab some iced tea as well. 5 seconds. I leave you in charge, Jack. joy of looking after your parents, okay, is that when you walk past them, they talk to you like you're part of a conversation that you have no fucking clue what it's about. And my mother just went, well, you know why that is, that women don't buy, the women buy more? It's because advertising is geared towards them. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm streaming. Later. What is this? I just turned up. Oh. It's pretty hot in the UK at the moment, so I would like to tell people that I have turned off my aircon when I stream, because otherwise it's just constantly. But it's not too hot in my room at the moment. Typically, the central heating, the water tank for the hot water is next to my room, in my room, and the pipes for it are under my floorboards, in the room I'm in at the moment. When the central heating's on, yeah, to warm up the water in the house for like a shower or whatever, I will have after this. After the stream, I'm gonna have a shower. Thank God. When that's on, the room gets sweltering, and it's hell, and I have to have the aircon on. But at the moment, I've had the aircon on for all night, and so it's been on for like the last 18 hours. My aircon, been a bit dehydrated, to be honest, from the aircon. But the room's nice and cool, and will be for probably another hour or so. But towards the end of the stream, I'll probably be sweltering. That's another thing that happened. I've got some nice Lipton iced tea. If you want to sponsor me, Lipton iced lemon iced tea. If any lemon iced tea companies out there want to sponsor me, I will happily shill for you. Nord iced tea, delicious. I tell you what, actually, tell you what happens. 1 second, let me just touch my crotch. It's okay. Yeah, it wasn't yesterday. So the day before yesterday, I had a scaldingly hot tea. Yeah, just like steaming hot. Okay, and I just poured the whole thing into my lap. Okay, now, you know when people say like they're being attacked by a shark, or your life flashes before your eyes. Okay, that happened because it was pretty painful. It was high tier pain. Okay, boiling hot water into the crotch area. Okay, and I did this. I was sitting in this chair and I sort of did this. Didn't even scream. Didn't do anything. I just thought, how can I make this stop? As I was sort of like doing that motion, and the way I made it stop a little bit better was I flung off my pajama bottoms. But I was slightly bad. So frozen spinach and aircon aimed there. That helped a lot. So I'm still a little tender. Thought you might want to know that. It can happen to any of us. It can happen to the best of us. Geofish Entertainment, thank you very much. Indeed, I wish to bring war to people up in Manchester. But after 3.10 release stuff, after that's died down a little tiny bit, I think I'll start getting pictures of my 40k army as I build it. I think that's probably quite a good idea. Way too much information, or maybe not enough information. I'll do some little drawings for you next time, don't you worry. Sponsoring denied. Come on. I don't think you speak. I don't think you speak for Lipton. Speak for Lipton. Oh, it's a lot of. Can you tell what the Rock's cooking jokes going on at the moment? Do you think Cloud Imperium has optimized their pipeline in order to take Star Citizen to the next level and bring more content faster per patch? I think that's partly a plan. So they've spent time on tooling to be able to get Star Citizen into a great state eventually. So they want like Chris Roberts' dream game and dream vision of the game. So they want to keep on improving pipeline and tweaking stuff and improving stuff there, so that as they build stuff out, it's in a good position. Now, a lot of the back-end tech, a lot of tech for Star Citizen and Squadron 42 that's been being built out, they were able to build in the background, and now they're building tools to be able to make use of that And yeah, you should see a faster uptick when it comes to building out solar systems and stuff like that since they've got Pyro out. But I think you'll see a bigger uptick in the movement of everything once Squadron 42's out, because then the core of the game will be done, and then they can spend a little bit more time. They'll have a load more resources. Even if they start working Squadron 42 Episode 2 immediately, they'll still have more resources available for the persistent universe. Almost certainly. Isn't it time that we can hail Mothership and have loading bay doors open, or ramp doors if you're approaching with a land vehicle, maybe throw up your mobi-glass? So, okay. CIG have sort of like talked about that a bit and decided that they've got it in. They're keeping it in mind. They're keeping it in mind. Maybe in the future you're going to be able to have some limited functionality of opening your cargo bay slash landing base, landing area, so that you can dock with your mothership. Now, there's an argument to be said that you should have an NPC to do that, but there's also, we know, going to be AI modules, computer blades. Maybe some of the functionalities of computers will be a very, very limited ATC, air traffic control AI system, something like that. So I would expect they will probably have some very limited remote access to computers when it comes to landing motherships, landing ships in another ship. When are we going to see RTS, so real-time strategy type gameplay, essential for capital ships? So you're talking about command and control and commanding fleets. So we know that they want to have the ability to share targeting and sort of scanning information between ships in the future. We know that they want to have some form of command and control map or way of delegating instructions across the battlefield. We just don't know 100% what form that's going to take. We've seen hologrobes, we've seen maps, but exactly how that's going to work, don't know yet. Are you a big pizza? What, a pizza, BG? Cool. I'll take your pizza, Kenneth, as long as it's not big sausage pizza, which is a very different thing. How you doing? How's your family? They're doing pretty damn well at the moment. Thank you very much for asking. Better than expected. A Titan suit that can mine asteroids and get into nooks that ships will have a hard time getting into can be pretty damn sweet. Yeah, but so a lot of that can be done by hand mining. There's obviously going to be the Sidnus mining tick as well. I sort of kind of like the idea of having a big jetpack version of the Titan suit, like being able to outfit it with for sort of like EVA mining. That would be pretty cool. You're buying a Freelancer Max today? Well, congratulations on your purchase. Remember, you can buy everything in game eventually, and more from each patch. You should be able to get more and more stuff in game even now. When the patch drops, am I likely to lose my LVEC or bought ships in game? Okay, so there's almost certainly going to be problems with some people losing some of their stuff. Yeah? CIG have not confirmed whether or not they're doing a wipe for 3.10 yet. I would expect them at least try to keep persistence between 3.9 and 3.10. That will be their goal. If there has to be a wipe, then there has to be a wipe. We don't know yet. But even if there's no wipe, some people are likely to experience some problems when it comes to the Alpha UC and ships being ported over. If you could have one ship for the rest of the time playing this game with all the mechanics in game, I think it would be the Endeavour or 600i Exploration. The Carrack for me. Okay, so for purely gamifying the system, having the Endeavour would be great because it covers so many different mechanics and science is huge. But for me, if they had the Carrack and all mechanics that the Carrack touched, so full on exploration and that sort of stuff, yeah, I love the Carrack. I mean, even though I'm more of an industrial player, and I would like the Reclaimer, for example. The Reclaimer, salvage really appeals to me. The treasure hunting salvage type stuff. Oh. What game mechanic would I like to see implemented? It's all of them. I need it all to come together. But basically, for me, I want the dynamic economy to be a dynamic economy, for that universe sim to be a thing. And for that, it needs all of those gameplay loops to all interact, for the NPCs to effectively understand how they work and make use of resources, and that to affect the wider game. That's the most important thing for me. It all comes together. I know it's very sort of like sweeping thing to say, but it's true. Do you think the new atmosphere mechanics will affect players walking around in larger ships? Not directly yet. In the future, I think they want to have a bit of jostle. Any tips for optimizing the game? So I've got some guides for Windows 10 and Star Citizen optimization and NVIDIA optimization on my website, BoredGamer.co.uk. They're clearly at the top. You can have a look at all those guides. That should help a bit. There's ways you can get more frames with potentially putting in a user.cfg and stuff like that as well. However, Star Citizen is not optimized yet at the moment. Getting a solid 40 frames is actually pretty good for the game at the moment. However, I get between 30 and 120 frames when I play. It's erratic based on the area you're in, and is actually on the higher side of that now for the most part. Would you say they will add a ship company that looks grimdark like 40k? I think you'll see a lot of. I'd love to see Space Hogs, and I'd love to see bioships in Star Citizen. I think you're going to see a load more alien races and things like that in the future. Lots more ship manufacturers, both alien and human. What do you think about the Car2 Owl getting some love? Yeah, a lot of ships needed to get some quality of life updates to make them viable. I mean, the Car2 Owl is supposed to be a light fighter/scout ship, so I don't want it to be like super combat competitive, but I do want it to be annoying. I do want it to be like, well, if you're concentrating on shooting the Car2 Owl, you are going to get wrecked by some other ships. But if you don't concentrate on fighting the Car2 Owl, it's going to put some dents in you. Your thoughts on mining posts in 3.10 when atmospherics are added? I'm afraid it's becoming way too hard to mine for low rewards, as mining ships are not great for flight. I expect to see some balances and changes with 3.10. Some of them not necessarily for the good. We'll have to wait and see how mining ships handle 3.10 on planets. I like mining as a viable way to make money at the moment, personally. That might change in 3.10. So with Theatres of War, expect it to, after 3.10's gone live, expect it to get another EVOCATI weekend or two in the quite near future. And then I would expect after that, they probably will start to be in a place where they can have a slightly wider test group for Theatres of War. It should be able to be more discussed more freely, not NDA'd. If you could instantly add one feature or gameplay loop, what would it be? Talks about that really. It's basic dynamic economy. Will they wipe in-game port ships? They will occasionally, but they're trying to keep them for 3.10 as far as I'm aware. What would you tell us if you could discuss 3.10? I tell you about some of the other features that are not on the roadmap. I think you want to dress up as a Japanese schoolgirl. Don't use Star Citizen as an excuse. Some crushed ice for your crotch. Thank you very much. Jitro. Jatro. That's what I'll call you. Thanks very much. Very much appreciated. As they roll out professions, can we expect to see Butcher as a choice? Will it be just prime cuts, or will they include offal? So quite honestly, I'm hoping that there's going to be big game hunters. There's obviously going to be those big, terrifying creatures in the game, sort of like the big old Yeti boy and the Pyro Crab, but also space cows and that sort of stuff as well. And big game hunting, missions to take them out, harvestables from them. Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds viable. Yeah, we could see some major gameplay loops added in the Q4 patch for this year, so the end of year patch. Expect stuff like we could see first tier salvage, so tier 0 salvage, with using like the cutting tool, potentially cutting out components, and then being able to pick them and sell them. Yeah, something really simple like that. Doesn't need to be the hull hull salvage mining, although I would like that as well. I think it's possible that we could see that if they're working on it at the moment in Q4. But then you could have the same sort of thing for repair. You could have removal and placing of new component. Very, very early stage repair. You could have fuse boxes and junction boxes and larger ships needing repair occasionally, using, again, the multi-tool. So, or replacement of a component. They've been building a load of systems for this, like the resource system that tracks power and fuel and what it's being turned into and what systems can use it at any given stage. So there's obviously going to be breakages in there that cause a need for repair. Physicalized components, I suppose. If they can get physicalized components done this year, then, and I hope they can, then we should be in for something like that. You know, if we'll get the burn in effect on 3.10. So I don't think we're getting the new sign distance field burn in effects yet. And that's a 3.11 thing. Board, any thoughts on the new flight system and what would deem certain ships as usable or unusable for atmospheric flight? Thinking of the Herald here. So it's going to be, okay, so no ship. I mean, the 890 jump's pretty unsuitable for atmospheric flight in a lot of ways because it's just so heavy, effectively. So large. So larger ships are going to be more stable and less blown around by the wind and weather and atmospheric disturbances, yeah? So they're more stable. But they're also heavier and slower and will have a hard time landing and getting out of atmosphere, okay? But smaller ships have an easier time getting in and out of atmosphere, but might be jostled around a lot by weather. So it's going to depend on a lot of things. More aerodynamic ships are going to be flying aerodynamically, and much more like planes than previously. Still not planes, but much more like planes than they were. But, again, if you're getting jostled around by the wind a lot, then that might not necessarily be a great thing. I appreciate all the love. Thank you so much. So I need to actually get on that. Azotech sent me an Alienware PC, which I've subsumed into my workflow now for editing and compression of videos and recording. So that's enabled me to update Zin's system so that she's in a much better place for recording and editing as well. And so Zin's going to be starting work for me officially on the 1st of August now. That's the plan. As an editor, which and channel 8 full time, which should mean I hopefully have significantly better looking content. And yeah, let's hope that happens. More content, better looking content. Any thoughts if the new flight controls? This is why I talked about that already. Hey, Board, do you think we'll see them banning Merchantman before the end of the year? So I think we'll see bits of it. We're not going to have it in game before the end of the year by any means. Expect to probably see the Polaris worked on first before the banning Merchantman. Although the banning Merchantman is reasonably high priority for them because they know it's a popular ship. A bit late to the party. Is 3.10 live now? No, it's still EVOCATI at the moment, the build. I'm hoping that we get first wave PTU today, this weekend, early next week. It's literally going to be based, the first wave PTU is going to be based on as soon as they've cleared up the remaining important EVOCATI blockers that they deem are the blockers. I heard 40k, what army do you play, mate? So I'm building an Adaptus Mechanicus army at the moment for 9th edition. But previous to that, I played loads of Imperial Guard. I've done Custodes. I did Custodes before there were Custode rules. This is like 10 years ago. I had Constantin Valdor and my Sisters of Silence sort of army with... I did Death Guard as well, before Death Guard were in the game. Again, 10 years ago or so when I used to go to tournaments and things. But I started to get back into 40k again. Also, Adaptus Titanicus, the sort of like epic Titan game that 40k do. I've started to do now. I suspect that's Salty Mike raiding me. So you can see all his lovely emoticons. What's the Raiden one about? What is the Raiden one about? Is that your... It's Grey Raid. It's Raiden. It's a raid. I see. I understand. Perfect. Not Big Trouble in Little China. Perfect. Right. No, I got it. I understand. Hope you're doing well. Sorry, Mike, mate. I'd like to... I'm going to try and get a call Noobifier on the weekend, but I'd like to give you a call on the weekend if you're free at any time. We'd sort of like have a catch-up. It'll be sensible to do that, I think. We could talk about worries and problems as well. I think that one of the things that we maybe should do as content creators as well is poke CIG about stuff that does worry us occasionally. So I was talking earlier about what you said on stream with you're unsure of what to do about people talking about leaks that you wouldn't personally talk about in your chat. You can't be held responsible for them, but how heavily do you have to police them, if at all? Because it's public information. Now, if it was any other industry, yeah, like say it's Intel, okay? Intel have partners like Linus Tech Tips, for example. Now, Linus can't talk about the stuff he knows that he's NDA'd for, but if someone else leaks it, he can talk about it and report on it as the news. Now, I think that basically you could argue right to publish is an issue because CIG technically have the first right to publish, but that's a whole other thing. But I think things like that we should then poke CIG about and say, look, can you give us some clarity? And I think maybe we should start using a bit more of our clout to get things answered that are unclear, or at least make people aware of them. Like the CIG. I'm not talking about brigading anything, because fuck that. I'm not talking about that. But you know what I mean? I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to worry about stuff. And I think that it's a very fair point that you made. Like, you should enjoy what you do at all times, or most of the times. You shouldn't have to worry about something that is out of your hands. And I'm willing to play ball with CIG to an extent, but I do want to cover the news for Star Citizen, and I don't have to worry about that. Not that I do overly, but like EVOCATI leaks, I would never do an EVOCATI leak. But other leaks, I talk about them. I humour them. Data mines, I humour them at least. I'll say this is something that's data mined. Maybe I'll... if I do something like that, maybe I will compartmentalize it to, this is a video talking about a leak, and I won't mention it anywhere else other than this video. Maybe I should start doing that, because I don't want people to go, well, I'm going to avoid his videos because he might leak something that I don't want to know. I don't want to, like, ruin someone else's experience where possible. Some people's experience I couldn't give a fuck about. Shite. Thanks very much for the super chat, very much appreciated. With Building Blocks UI, will we see actual responsiveness from our ship HUDs? And with this coming in 3.10, why do we have to wait for 3.11 to prioritize missiles being fired? So the missile operator system just enables you to sort of like select what missiles or torpedoes you've got specifically and fire them as a missile operator system. It's like its own sort of like own MFD, I believe, is basically what it is. It's just because they didn't have time to get it in 3.10. And yeah, you should see there are major updates to a variety of chip elements, flight mechanics, combat mechanics in 3.10. Can't talk about the very specifics of that yet. But you should be. I think you should be pleased. CID should do what Games Workshop does. When there is a leak, they get ahead of it and drop them info themselves to control the conversation. Maybe. What do you think about adding hoverboards to the mix? I mean, they've got the tech to be able to do hoverboards. I'm not sure if they're a good idea, though. Yes, so I'm excited about the redrop and updates to outposts, points of interest, caves, and all that sort of stuff in 3.10. That's going to make a lot of the systems they've already have in-game actually accessible again. What's your opinion on fixed assist? Magically nudging bullets towards the target. So it doesn't magically nudge them. It's the AI effectively helps you aim. Sort of. So it takes the angular velocity of the target and where you're aiming and sort of like helps nudge the bullets towards them. It's very, very light auto aim. So it does help balance the disparity between auto gimbals and fixed weapons, for sure. And I'd say probably don't overly criticize it until you've had a chance to play with it yourself, because that's literally what you need to do. You need to have it in your hands. You can talk about it and say, yeah, is there a worry? Is this going to be overly... if it overly aims for you, and it then becomes fixed weapons are just significantly better than auto gimbals full stop. Why would you use why would you use auto gimbals when fixed weapons aim for you anyway? You need to sort of like get a nice, not in the middle place, but something that is balanced correctly, and that's hard to do. But I think the joy of Star Citizen is that it is very much a community effort when it comes to balance, iteration, and complaints and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. The meta's going to entirely change. Whole new game. Oh, thank you very much, Stormfire, for becoming a YouTuber member. Very much appreciated. You absolute legend. Oh, you star. Any thoughts on if new flight controls would deem certain ship? As we talked about that. The Barbecue 40k sold. No, right? Do you know if they will address the ammo bug in this patch? Expect a lot of the issues in 3.9's branch that are so solvable to be solved. That's solvable within a quarter. So you should see a lot of updates and a lot of quality of life improvements and a lot of bug fixes. Why is the bounty merchantman classed as large when it's objectively bigger than a Polaris and is rumoured to have mothership capabilities and military use in the lore? Just wait until it comes out. It will be reclassified where appropriate. I mean, ships are just... classify them by their actual size. By their meterage. Meters squared. Still hopeful for the end of this year for Sing Star Runner. I mean, it's currently pegged in for the Q3 patch for 3.11. So... yeah, I mean, we'd almost certainly see it by the end of the year. I'd hope we'd still see it in September. Yeah, I wonder if when we have the dynamic economy simulation, when we have the full game, if they do have taxes for purchases or for sending out VBC to people, does that then do something in game? If they generate a huge amount of tax, does that make the system more wealthy? Does that have more NPCs going out? Do you know what I mean? Board, can you please say hello to Stormfire for me? Noob says, hello Stormfire, and pass on that I hope he's well. Yes, I will. I think I did. Hey Board, have you heard about the RSI Odin? If so, do you believe that's actually a ship in development? It's potentially a ship in development. There's a load of ships that make sense to be in Star Citizen at some point. When do you expect the RSI Polaris? So they sort of implied that it's going to be one of the next big ships they start working on properly. So like for active development very soon. Um, NVIDIA RTX voice can help filter out your aircon noise. So it seems to really could be quite a... it introduces some delay, and it doesn't like the way I talk. But I'll have another look at RTX voice. I haven't really set up my mic properly before, but I sort of like set it up again the other day so that I can... it doesn't peak so much. I heard they are implementing a compass to UI in ships. Is that so? So there will be a system that CIG will have in place for coordinate, for navigation, for coordinating, for working out what location you're in, for working out where you are on a planet, and for sharing those locational information and stuff in the future. Should Theatres of War wait for Vulkan integration? Not necessarily. I mean, there's lots of stuff they can do for testing and improvement before Vulkan integration. If it was releasing as a live product, yes, it needs Vulkan integration before it goes released to live. This is finished now, 100%. Yeah, I'm very well. Thank you very much, Stormfire, mate. How much bug reporting do you have to do to get into EVOCATI? So originally it was how active you are with the PTU patches and did you participate on the issue council to a reasonable extent. And that's how a lot of early EVOCATI testers got in. Now it's sort of like invite only as far as I'm aware. You just have to participate in the issue council and participate in PTU patches. It is a chore, the EVOCATI, rather than a joy. Thank you very much. Stepping on Legos. Stepping on Legos. Oh, like stepping on plugs. Not Lego isn't that painful compared to a plug. A UK plug. Oh my god. They're like caltrops, mate. They should be banned, UK plugs. Do you know anything about NPC crews? So expect to see NPCs as sort of wingmen and participating in missions. Then expect to see AI modules being able to be put into systems and turrets and stuff so that a derpy computer AI can control the turret. And then expect to see NPC crew after that. So that's a while off NPC crew. That are hireable and rentable. You know when ship to ship docking will be out. So docking as ship to station and ship to ship is all part of the single feature now. It was planned for 3.11, but it's been moved off the roadmap. I would expect it for Q4 2020 still, personally. Yeah, I was a head chef and I used to run my own restaurants back in the day. Realistically, when do you think Star Citizen will be fully fleshed out and playable? So, playable to a good degree, 2025 is probably a good shout. Fully fleshed out, no. It's going to be a while longer before it's fully fleshed out beyond that. There's a huge amount they want to do for Star Citizen. But something akin to an on-the-shelf release or something they'll say it's released, but there's still a lot more work. Yeah, potentially no more resets after 2025. When will The Rock be purchasable? We don't know. I'm expecting The Rock to go live with 3.10 and be purchasable at the same time. That makes sense, but can't confirm whether The Rock will be in the game for the live build or not. What do you think about adaptive camouflage? No, so they want to avoid sort of like that form of invisibility and stealth in the game. They've said that a few times. So stealth in the game is very much managing your systems, managing your signatures, so that people can't detect you on their radars. Is the idea, or scanner. So like you're avoiding their scans, using the environment to sneak up on them. Will we see quality of life changes to Mobiglass and especially personal inventory anytime soon? Yes. You'll be able to buy new Mobiglasses in 3.10 and expect this to be first stage of them rebuilding everything for the building block system as well. So you'll see big Mobiglass updates in the not too distant future, I would expect. How fast do you think will the universe expand after Pyro's release? Well, eventually, they want 120 systems. They sort of got like 120 systems planned. Now, that might be coming over the next 10 years, admittedly. But they can build the systems a lot quicker with their pipeline after Pyro's finished. Like quite genuinely, the thing that will take the most time then is individual landing zones, which are sort of like use hero assets, new assets, and that sort of stuff. But a lot of the other stuff is tooled so they can build it very quickly. You see a common criticism of Star Citizen of it's been 8 years and there's only one system. There's not even one system. Well, there is one system. It's just not fully complete. But that's not an indication of how long it's going to take to build up the gameplay area. If they wanted to build out huge amounts of gameplay area, they could, but it wouldn't be great until they've got all the back end and everything in there. See what I mean? We won't see the racing, the scramble races in 3.10 for Grimhex, but we will. They've got all the Grimhex updates there ready for races, probably in 3.11. What about group play? What major changes do we see that will encourage people to play in the same ship? So in 3.10, the turrets are significantly better and genuinely threatening to fighters is the idea. You can also share pinned targets between your crew, so you can go, let's attack target 3. You all know what that target is, so you can sort of like converge weapons and fire onto that. But obviously more and more multi-crew improvements are coming in the not too distant future with sort of like repair, you needing to maintain ships systems, greater MFD multifunction displays, and permission systems saying, well, you can control these systems. Cool, that makes you an engineer. You control these systems, that makes you a co-pilot. When do you think we'll be seeing the full pyro system? Full pyro system. I mean, we'll see a built-out pyro system within the next few quarters. I think they're still aiming potentially to get it in for the end of 2020, if that's possible. I mean, they're obviously building pyro out at the moment. You can see that from the monthly reports and Inside Star Citizens. Inside Star Citizen has taken its break, and now the next one we'll see is on the 24th of July, I think. What are your thoughts on the turret changes? So the turrets, yes, even if the fixed assist is overly good, it's overpowered, I think for turrets that's probably fine. So the turret changes on paper, and from what I've seen in Inside Star Citizen, look good, and actually in a place that I think is very sensible. But we'll have to see how that translates as well to how good are ships that are running fixed weapons now. When do you think we might see a new science ship? But they're sort of like moving towards, where possible, a straight-to-flyable model rather than concept model. So that means that they want to get ships and vehicles in-game with at least some of the mechanics with a major patch, rather than have the concept phase and just sell the idea of the ship. So maybe when we're closer to science mechanics being in game. When will the hull C be ready, sir? So they're building the prerequisite tech. They're actually working on the remainder of that now. And as far as I'm aware, the hull C is ready for Squadron 42's needs, which probably means the compressed version or maybe the expanded version, but it doesn't need to change. But for the persistent universe, it needs to be able to expand the contract. And dock, so we need docking as well. Could you see that for the end of the year? Yeah, if they get docking in for the end of the year and if the hull C's been prioritized, yeah. The trading app's not on the roadmap, but it is in 3.10. When do I think racing will return? Well, I think they're going to have the scramble base races with Grimhex in 3.11, so the next major patch, not this one. When do I think? And I think they'll probably have the gameplay experience team get racing back into Arena Commander into a reasonable state, potentially for the end of this year. That'd be my expectation, though I don't know. I'll poke CIG about racing, actually. It's a good idea. I think we'll see the majority of Crusader ships completed or flight ready by the end of the year. So I think we'll see the C2 and the Mercury Star Runner. I'd love to see the Ares as well, but I think that's less likely. My Bandit Defender and Aquila won't fire missiles. Is there a fix for that? They should work in 3.10? I don't know if there's a fix in 3.9 at the moment. So my brain's been re-geared to 3.10, sorry. Any word on the Corsair? No word on the Corsair at the moment. I don't believe it's an active development. I want to go into Star Citizen, but I don't have so much money. You know anything about a good starter package deal, including Squadron 42, and a good base for multiplayer? So you only need the starter pack, the $45 starter pack to get into the Star Citizen's Persistent Universe. Obviously, the Squadron 42 is a separate game, which you can get at the same time for a discount. Occasionally, they do like free fly events and cheaper starter packages. So maybe wait until something like that comes out. A lot of people are going to recommend the Avenger Titan, but it is not the cheapest way of getting in, but it is a great ship. But you might get it in game, even if you just go for a starter pack. I only recommend people get the starter packs. With atmospheric changes, will our ships still despawn if we leave them in orbit and go planet side in our smaller ships? Always seems to despawn my Carrack when I leave it in orbit. So there is still going to be clear up. Sometimes it will despawn your ship and sometimes it won't. Depends on how far where you've gone from it. When you've gone too far away from it, the server sometimes cleans it up, which is trash at the moment. It's annoying. iCache, full persistence, that sort of stuff that they're working on at the moment, and potentially we'll have this year. That should actually make it so that your ship stays there much more suitably. Do you think any fantasy elements will be added to the game? Not really in a traditional way. Why do they call the new feature high-speed combat? It's because it tweaks combat at a high speed. So when you're going high speed, it reduces your gimbal movement rates. I think it should fuck up your auto aim as well. That would be my suggestion. But also your lock-on times as well are reduced. But it's specifically changes at high speeds. That's why they call it high-speed combat. Wipe due to the mining sales bug? Okay. So that's one of the reasons there might be a wipe. However, Cloud Imperium did say that they would be able to target specific accounts that had exploited or that had a huge amount of money and they could reduce that. But if there's a major reason to wipe everyone's account, for 3.10 because it will prevent crashes, or it's going to be there to help stability or something like that, then they'll do it. How's scavenging going to work? So first day scavenging will be the removal of components, probably, from ships using like a cutting tool. Bam, take a weapon away, take a power plant away from a ship, and bring it back, sell it. There's also going to be the ability to salvage people's hulls, so literally stripping the hull using effectively a salvage mining laser from like the Vulture or the Reclaimer, or drones that you can strip the hulls. There's also going to be more salvage, so more as in more, which like the Reclaimer has, which pulls parts of the ship in, crushes them down, and puts them in, makes them into cubes. And then there's siphoning as well, and siphoning will be the sucking out of gases or liquids and that sort of stuff as well. I think maybe, I suppose, will that be the Starfarer be able to siphon? I mean, it collects gas. That's basically siphoning. Do you think new high-speed combat and flight behavior with the curve will make PvP better? So there's actually going to be a PvP calling all devs today, talking about PvP in 3.10 and beyond, and that sort of stuff. I do think that, at least on paper, the PvP gameplay and the updates to 3.10 have put it in a really good place. Significantly better than it was anyway. Is it going to be as good as 2.6.3 back in the golden day for me? I don't know. I'd hope that it's getting there. Some people are going to not like the changes, but I think most people and the future people will love them. When would you expect other capital ships like the Kraken to come out? It depends when they're working on them. It literally when they prioritize them. So I would expect to see the Polaris first, then the Banner Merchantman, and then probably the Carrack after that. I hope Star Citizen won't bring an upkeep system like ED. That's a huge turn-off. So I suspect you will have to upkeep costs in other ways. Paying for crew, paying for food, the maintenance of systems in general. Systems will degrade the more you use them. Fuel, that sort of stuff. That's 3.10 will introduce the new AI and weapons reload mechanics. Also curious on your thoughts on the new Cyberpunk 2077 trailer. Thanks. So I'm really looking forward to the Netflix. It was the anime. The anime, the Cyberpunk series that they're going to do. Really looking forward to that. That's 2022, I think they're doing that in. I'm not sure if I've seen the new Cyberpunk trailer actually. I think it's on my other screen, ready to watch it later. So I'll check that out later. Really excited for Cyberpunk though. I'll probably be playing it on my channel. Is 3.10 expected today or speculated today? I was actually already expecting 3.10 to be released on Wednesday. So earlier this week I was expecting it to be released. And it could literally go live at any time. And that could be now, that could be this weekend, that could be early next week. It's literally going to depend on when CIG say that they're it's in a better place for first wave PTU. And that's going to be whenever they decide. They're, as far as I'm aware, they're looking every day at release candidates with the potential of going live any day. They have been for the whole of this week. Released from Wednesday. Any rumor about the Constellation update? There's no secret Constellation update. They haven't been reworking them or anything. They said that the other day. Do you think the Starfarer will get a rework since it's so old? I mean, it's going to have its get some little updates at least when its mechanics alive, and all ships will constantly receive lighting and materials updates, but nothing major. Any idea when the Starfarer will be able to refuel, when they build the refuel mechanics in? I think they're relatively high on the list, refuel, but like salvage and repair refuel, all pretty high. Any mining changes you can, you know about that you can share? No, nothing that I can talk about for the 3.10. Any talk about adding voice commands in game? They've actually talked about that, and they said that they wanted potentially well, they were looking into it. But obviously you can use voice attack to do that now anyway. Or do you think CIG might tweak the strength of thrusters a bit more for ships like the Reclaimer? Yes. They'll do it for all ships. The new flight model stuff for 3.10 is by no means finished in any way, shape or form. It needs a lot of iteration work. Will bigger ships with big scanners be able to scan a planet's surface from orbit in the future? We don't actually know, although I do kind of like the idea of a mega logistics ship or a big scanning ship that literally is just for, I'm going to scan for materials and for potential sites for bases and things. I think that's an absolutely fucking great idea. They've got the tech and the potential to be able to do that. Will some scanners have a long range, but not be able to, and be for a specific purpose? Yeah, quite possibly. Do you think they will build a space station like the Citadel in Mass Effect? So, I mean, it's a possibility, isn't it? I think they're going to try and avoid the Mass Effect trope where possible, though. Do you play Star Citizen on your Shadow PC? I'm not at the moment, but I have. I played yesterday on the top-end Shadow PC and on the Boost one. And 3.9.1 works very well with it. There's ways of even setting up your HOTAS and that sort of stuff and controller a lot more effectively than previously on Shadow as well now. I'll test it for 3.10 as soon as it goes out of first wave, as soon as it goes out of EVOCATI. I'll be testing on that. I suspect it work fantastically still. Fantastically is probably a little bit of an exaggeration. Boost works pretty well, and for a lot of people that don't have a gaming PC, that's going to be absolutely great for them. The top end Shadow stuff is intended basically to play in 4K. That's 32 gigs of RAM and stuff. It's pretty solid. What's your thoughts on the rumor that Turbulent is hiring for long-term system development, solar system? Maybe I heard it wrong, but it seemed floated out there. I haven't actually heard that rumor. I know that obviously Turbulent is now working with Star Citizen for the long term, so it's certainly a viable thing. It seems reasonable. I'll look into it. Do you think we are actually seeing results from staggered development? We're seeing staggered development. I'm not sure if we're seeing great results from it. Sort of mired slightly by the global lockdown. Have I tried the new flight model? Yes. What's my opinion? I can't talk about it. Really like it on paper. I think people will enjoy it. Maybe. Do you think we'll see an update on Horizon soon? Yeah, so expect when Inside Star Citizen comes back, it is mainly going to be focusing on 3.11, but I would also expect to see some Horizon updates for the Q4 patch. Well, any leaks on the Redeemer? No new Redeemer information at the moment. Do you think the Aopoa vessels will become combat viable? against the rest of the combat ships in the future. I mean, there's going to be balances. They're going to be ships for certain purposes, certain roles. Salvage V1 and Redeemer update when? I would also like to know. I do think we should see the very early stage of salvaging by this year. Redeemer, we don't have any updates on. Yeah, so I was expecting 3.10 to already be to first wave PTU. But it's not. And that saddens me. So sorry if I've hyped anyone for that, and I'm sure I have. I am expecting it genuinely to go live. It could be today, could be the weekend, could be early next week. We literally don't know. I was expecting it to go live on Wednesday. Gone. But I know the basics of the game, like trading, but what else is there to this game? So what, at the moment or in the future? At the moment, there's mining to quite a high level. That's probably one of the most developed gameplay loops. There's various forms of missions, bounty hunting, delivery missions, cargo trading, more of a more independent job role. Lots and lots and lots of different types of combat. There's cave missions, literally going into a cave on ground. More PvE. FPS stuff. There's countered missions that you can do to get against other players. There's quite a bit. In the future, there's a huge amount of second life in space. Do you think jump gates will be free to use, or will they require UEC? Oh, there might be tolls and fees on some of them. We don't know. That could be one of the ways they sort of restrict access to some systems artificially, maybe even. Oh, this has already been asked. How is 3.10 release gone? How many new bugs or issues? Serviceability? Are we still on track for a wider release to the PTU? Thanks. So, first wave PTU at some point. So that's basically what I've been saying. Unfortunately, we don't know. I was already expecting 3.10 to be to the first wave PTU, and it's not yet. But that could still be any time. Do you think we'll see the Crusader landing zone in 2020? Yes, I do. I'm hoping we see Pyro as well, but I think that's less likely. Need to do a big update on my Shadow coverage, Shadow Gaming PC stuff, once 3.10 goes live. No worries at all. I'm happy to answer people's questions. A lot of people ask the same question again, even after I've asked them. Answer them. That's the one. What exactly are we getting with 3.10? We're getting a finance app, so we're able to send Alpha UVC to players. We're getting a updates to New Babbage, so that's going to have a new shop in it. It's going to have a lot of new items to buy in it, like Mobigas, custom mobile glasses and stuff like that, or at least Mobigas variants is probably what I should say. The landing zones are getting updated for Lorville and for Area 18, so there's landing corridors when you request a landing, so that's sort of like restricted area improvements. Grimhex is getting a big update, so it's a actual viable landing zone now, with hangars and that sort of stuff. AI getting a load of updates, so they can use different weapons, they understand what weapon they're using, and they can use cover. We're going to have the updated bartender experience to whatever degree that might be. We're going to have caves, outposts, and all the associated sort of like ground missions and points of interest on the ground properly now for all the locations, with updates to the planetary visuals and water visuals. Should actually look a lot better. Might have some of those locations moving around slightly. or the planets and moons generated slightly differently, so bear that in mind. We've got some new weapons with the lightning bolt snipper and pistol, that both electron damage, new type of damage. We've got a new SMG. We've got a load of quality of life updates for ships, so changing their loadout / hard points and the way they fly and stuff like that. We've got a huge update to the flight model and combat model for ships. So flight model wise, you are going to have jerk with your ships, so thrusters aren't going to instantly respond. It takes time for their movement, so ships are going to feel heavier, even in space. And then atmospheric flight, huge changes. You have aerodynamics, you have wind and weather knocking you around based on how weighty your ship is, I suppose. Your thrusters are a lot more important. They're going to be thruster efficiency curves that really they're effectively less powerful in atmosphere and will overheat and take a load of fuel. But combat-wise, there's new targeting methodologies with you can have a main target and pinned targets, and share those pinned targets with the rest of your crew, so you can coordinate. There's fixed weapon improvements, there's turret improvements. Fixed weapons are going to sort of like slightly nudge the projectiles towards your target, so you've got a very slight auto aim on the tail end of it. Nothing as auto-aimy as the auto gimbals, obviously. There's high-speed combat changes as well, where your ship is going to be, if you're going fast, then your gimbals move slightly slower, and locking on takes longer time. There's lots of other stuff for the flight model as well. But yeah, quality of life improvements for the ships, HUD improvements, HUD changes. Where to read text on backgrounds better, see the HUDs on backgrounds better. We're expecting to see the Greycat Rock mining buggy in 3.10 that we've been talking about over the last week. Hopefully that will make the live build. We've got P72 new skin. You're going to be able to buy new skins in shops for your ships. You're literally about to go to Dumpster Depot, buy some new skins for your ships. M50, whole range of new visual updates for it. There are impounding is in game as well, so that has your ship, if it is blocking an access point, if it's blocking where someone might land or whatever, then you'll get a warning, and then eventually it will give you a fine and impound your ship. If you pad ram, you're going to get much more severe fines and criminal ratings and stuff like that. Body dragging, you can be able to grab someone on our hands, move around with them if they're stunned or knocked out or dead. Anything else? Is there anything else? There probably is. There's a lot of other stuff there's some other stuff I can't talk about because it's just in the EVOCATI patch. They haven't announced it. There's probably some other stuff as well that has been announced, but I've forgotten. Do you find fixed guns viable enough in 3.10? I can't. So they made changes to them to make them more viable in 3.10. We'll have to wait and see when it's in our hands to give better feedback. Cheeky question. Do you ever play the game, or are you just a commentator? I play the game loads. I don't play it much on stream, although I do sometimes. When Zin's working for me, starting 1st of August, I'll be playing a lot more on stream. A lot more viable to do that, because I can then talk while someone else is organising me. I find it very hard to truly multitask, but I'm very good at focusing on a single question or a single goal. So the Carrack, so people that are also subscribed have access to the Carrack until the end of this month. And the footage we're showing here is the CitizenCon 2019 gameplay demo. What else have we got? Is atmospheric flight in 3.10 more enjoyable? I think I can not break NDA by saying yes, it is. yeah, so body dragging is obviously going to be used very much so for bounty hunting in the future, and medical gameplay and missions, and for cool animations of NPCs dragging people off and things. Do you think we'll see Pyro and therefore a 4.0 patch in Q4? It's a possibility. It's looking less likely. What peripherals do I use for Star Citizen? So my favourite thing to use is my Virpil Constellation Delta HOTAS. Okay, by far the best HOTAS I've ever used. But I use a keyboard and mouse for the most part, just because it's easier for my needs. Logitech G502 and a Roccat Vulcan 100 keyboard. Have I heard any new information about the Merchantman? Not really. Not as public, anyway. I believe they're going to be working on the Polaris before the Merchantman, but you should see some stuff on the Merchantman at some point. Probably before the end of the year. Board, I've campaigned on the forums for CIG to use deep AI speech synthesis because it's incredibly realistic at copying any person. What are your thoughts? I'll have to have a look at it in more detail. I know that deep speech learning and all that sort of synthesis stuff is pretty good for pictures and audio. Do you have any discount codes for Squadron 42? No, I don't. Sometimes you can get discounted packages when they do like a big sale or free fly weekend. Typically, like end of November is when you see things like sales, where you get discount packages. What is Cloud Imperium's plan on implementing anti-cheat? We don't know. There obviously has to be a way of preventing cheating in the game. I don't want anything too invasive. I don't want anything that's it's going through my CPU kernels. There's sort of like level 0 stuff. So hopefully they can have something that's a mixture of a wide umbrella, non-invasive anti-cheat and a logged system where they can go, well, this guy's cheating, ban him. This guy's cheating. Let's track all the stuff that he did. Will there be hunting gameplay with wildlife species on planets? Well, we know there's going to be wildlife species on planets. You know, there's like they're working on space cows and terrifying Cthulhu-esque crabs in Pyro, and the Yeti on Microtech. But I would expect to see big game hunting and missions to take them out and lootables from them. One of the things I'm looking forward to. When do you think the Genesis Starliner passenger transport is coming? As we have cargo, it feels like it's not long off. Yeah, so they need to have NPCs using passenger transports and moving around planets. At some point, I think it's a little while off, though. What about the RSI Odin, question mark? So this is a leak that Star Citizen League said that they've heard rumours of a RSI gunboat called the Odin, which is over 100 metres. But we don't know anything more about it than that. Well, I mean, look at Star Citizen Leaks videos and leaks, and if you want to see that stuff, I don't know much about it, if it is 100% a thing or not. Is nasty asteroid disappearing bug fixed in 3.10? Okay, so I expect a load of those bugs to be addressed. However, some of the stuff requires more tech to finish off. So I don't know if the asteroid disappearing bug is fixed in 3.10. I would hope it. I hope it is. With re-entry effects, do you think your ship can be damaged if you go through the atmosphere incorrectly at the wrong angle? I think there will be heat involved and maybe damage in the future. What tools do you foresee orgs to have to advertise themselves, recruit people and advertise? I mean, they are building orgs 2.0. They're building a load of features for orgs. I'm not sure what advertising features they're going to have. There's there's a lot of different things that are surprise that Disco. Well, the Disco mentioned that there's a lot of other stuff. But he said there's other stuff that you'd need to figure out what's in 3.10. Maybe he's forgetting something. There's a huge amount he was actively not talking about for 3.10. A lot of it's minor things, but they add up to quite a lot. Have you heard anything recent on improved physics grids? Only that a load of the stuff they're working on for 3.11 and onwards is a boon to that with iCache and all that sort of stuff as well. Just helping with the servers. Because the physics grids, it's an interesting thing. There's a lot going on with physics grids, but it's also a lot going on with server ticks and prediction and that sort of stuff, which affects them as well, apparently. I do a video all on that at some point. Good luck with the Prowler. I do have a Prowler giveaway every month. Oh no, not that is incorrect. I do not have a Prowler giveaway every month. I have a ship giveaway every month. This month it is for a Prowler. Fish and chips with curry sauce. That is a fish and chips with curry sauce is a good choice. Thank you so much. Marcus75. I appreciate your money. I like your money. Give me your money. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Fish and chips. Do you think Vulkan will make a significant change to performance, considering a majority of the issues are actually due to server performance? Yeah, so the more... Okay, so Vulkan makes the game more scalable on a lot of different hardware. Yeah. It also means that they don't have to worry about so much in the way of resources on screen. They can do a lot more if they want to, without having to fuck around and have like super low polys and things like that. A lot of issues that people are having in game are because of server performance, which is separate from that, or mostly separate from that. But some people are having actual client-side performance issues, and getting Vulkan support in is going to severely help with lots of action going on in small areas, and allow just for much prettier, much more going on. Thank you so much, Robert Johnston. Here's a cheap feck off. Thank you very much. Your love and your money is always appreciated. Go feck off yourself. Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. Hey, do you have peach rings in the UK? Yes, we do. I have them in cans. Is Space Cow blue or green milk? I don't know. Blood red. What else have we got? When are we going to be able to sell ship components, or for that matter, ships in game? So they'll have the ability to do that more easily when the iCache is in, because they'll be able to track everything much more readily. But when they're going to implement that is a different matter. I wouldn't expect it to be in the too far distant future. I mean, they want loot in game as quickly as possible. They want the ability to like steal people's ships, steal people items, take items from missions, and then sell them elsewhere. And that's an important part of the game in the shorter term. They've got places like the scrapyards on Hurston and places like that as well, which are intended to be able to sell that sort of loot. How far are we from seeing an alien homeworld or star system? A way out. Well, more likely to probably see the Vandal one, because they're sort of like more nomadic and you have to worry about them doing cities. Were you able to work on someone else's crew? Yeah, and earn money as a gunner miner. Right now, well, with 3.10 potentially, because people could send you money, but you'd have to negotiate that with them. Do you think the Hawk would be good for scramble racing? I think there are many better shits for scramble racing, but we'll have to see how the scramble races work and the rules, because maybe some certain setups might work really well. In what order would you personally prioritize development of upcoming capital ships? Personally, I'd like to see Banning Merchantman, Carrack, Polaris. But I'd also like to see the Idris and Javelin before that, because I think they could be coming out. If they got them, they worked on them for player needs, I think they could get them in game pretty quickly. When did I start playing Star Citizen? When the Hangar module was first released. End of 2013? Very beginning of 2014? Maybe? Do you know why Concierge is so slow? Because of global lockdown, they're quite backed up with a lot of stuff. Customer service in general. What do you think of the Origin 100 series? I don't see the point in it, personally. The new starter ships, eh. I expect them for 3.11. That's when they're marked on the roadmap for. To be entered in the giveaway, you just need to comment on any of my Star Citizen videos during the month. And this is not a video, unless you're watching it as a video, in which case it is a video, but I can't take live comments. You know. Sonara Bonzara, thank you very much for the subscription. Very much appreciated. Star. You know when they will fix the scanner for finding hand minables on planet services? I would expect to see some bug fixes for that in 3.10. Will body dragging prevent the magical straight to prison that even happens when no cops are around? Okay, so you're supposed to only go to prison if you've been killed by security or you've surrendered, the idea, to security and to bounty hunters properly eventually. Probably in 3.10 if you're taken out by a player in an area that's got scanner coverage. Really, at the moment, any time that you've got appropriate criminal rating and you get detected, you get killed where there is a comm ray, that's what it seems, you get put in prison. I'm not sure how that's going to change. It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be if you die in range of a bounty hunter or cop. Security. Is the patch supposed to be today? Well, I was expecting 3.10 first wave PTU to be out Wednesday, which was a couple of days ago. And as far as I'm aware, from what I've heard, that it could go to a first wave PTU build any day. But that could be today, that could be early next week, that could be the weekend. We don't know. It's going to be whenever they've gone, enough blockers have been cleared, and release it beyond that. Do you think the falling out of turrets bug will mostly be resolved in 3.10? So there have certainly been improvements and bug fixes for turrets in 3.10. For the races, is there going to be a rank system? I don't know how the racing system is going to work for 3.11 and the scramble races. Well, what appears to be for 3.11 and the scramble races. I hope there's an in-depth system that encourages players to play and race. A little ranking system would be cool. How many more ships do you think they need to finish before they can start building out alien civilizations and solar systems? So they don't necessarily need to have a huge amount of ships. Like, once they've got the Banu Merchantman done, they'll have a load of the Banu architecture and everything already. They can start building out their planets and locations. But they're so much different, alien compared to the human ones, that it's going to be interesting to see. Whole new architecture sets need to be built for them. Expect 3.10 to have a focus on server stability and game accessibility, but we don't know how stable or performance-wise or good performance-wise the patch is going to be until it's in live build. Because stuff changes. I mean, literally, there could be a load of problems that they didn't foresee happening. When do you expect they will be able to buy a C2 in game? Middle of next year? Do you think the Nox will get revisited and reworked anytime soon? I think it will get some tweaks, but I don't think it's going to get a rework. How to understand this numbers 3.10, 3.11, 3.12. So they were going to number them sequentially, so 3.10 was actually going to be 4.0, but they then wanted to save the 4.0 moniker patch name for when they had the Pyro system in game, because it's a new system and jump points. So they're going to name them 3.10, 3.11, et al., etc. Ad infinitum, no, etc. Until that's in, and then it will be 4.0, and then they'll continue up from there. Major milestone numbers such as 4.0, 5.0 appear to be reserved for major milestones. Server meshing is coming in 3.10? No, it is not. Can you say anything about the Car 2 Owl in 3.10? Yeah, it's got its hard points for its weapons have gone up a size. It's going to be obviously flying and using the new flight model in a interesting way. It's going to be a bit more agile. It's going to be a bit more tanky. They've given it severe improvements. Make it much more like fighter. What's the most money you've pulled in mining with one run in this prospector? I can't remember. A lot with Quantanium. An almost full hold of Quantanium. It's a lot of money. Well, it's actually not almost full. Probably about 70% full of Quantanium. It's a big haul. What's your most wanted unreleased feature? It's dynamic economy stuff, and generally everything coming together. Like I need it all. I need it all, and to see how it all affects each other. I love economies. What alien race do you think will get the first alien landing zone with? Banu? Almost certainly the Banu. Do you think there will be alien space stations? Yes, I do. I think there'll be alien Banu merchantmen flying around, and you'll be able to trade with them, and NPC ones. Radiation damage from the environment? In the future, yes. I'm expected to be part of the player status system, but they add more and more buffs and debuffs and damage types. Will they have a hackable Mobiglass with new store... What? Hackable Mobiglasses? New hacking chips and stuff they're building. If Hater from Leaks asked you to be a quest on a leak, a guest, he means, on a leak video, would you... he's already asked me. I don't have the free time to be able to be part of Star Citizen Leaks stuff at the moment. Also, it's sort of like, do I want to be associated with Star Citizen Leaks? Because that's an interesting question. I don't know how CIG are going to be handling leaks in the future, and to what extent how Star Citizen Leaks get their particular leaks. Like, I don't want to... I'm for the freedom of information, to an extent, but I also respect Cloud Imperium's sort of NDAs and that sort of stuff as well. So I'll report on stuff because I want to produce a channel on Star Citizen content, the one-stop shop for Star Citizen, and it's Star Citizen news. I will cover it. Yeah. I avoid EVOCATI leaks because I'm an EVOCATI member and I don't want to break NDA. But I also, I don't know. I'm not sure how naughty are Star Citizen leaks. I don't know yet. Okay, I'll watch them and I'll see. Will the mining buggy fit beside the Urza in the Carrack? So we talked about the rock mining vehicle and what we expected from it if it's put into the game. I would expect it to be able to fit anywhere that the Urza rover can fit. Would be my expectation. But from Star Citizen Leaks looking at it a while ago, it looked a lot smaller, like it was a big grey cat buggy. But we'll talk more about the rock mining buggy once it's actually unveiled, if it's unveiled, but once it's unveiled. Will it make 3.10 live? It's a strong possibility. It looked like all signs are pointing to that, but I can't confirm that or not. With the new pit changes in the 3.10, will the Singe weapons on the Defender be more viable now? I don't know. On paper, it would suggest they are, but I haven't actually tried them. I don't know. They're sort of like, they're It's interesting with the singed tachyon cannons. They're much more hit scan than other weapons which have travel time. So, What are your thoughts on finding things like random wrecks on moons? Generally things to explore. Yeah, I mean, you'll see that a lot more in 3.10. We're trying to find links that don't get other content creators in trouble. I appreciate that, hater. Or is that you, hater, or is that who owns the Star Citizen Leaks YouTube account? I appreciate that. Execute the other dude. It's execute. It is you, execute. Okay. You can call you Executor for some reason. Executor. Yeah, no worries. I appreciate that, but at the moment I haven't got time anyway, so it's sort of like I don't have to go. Should I be on there or not? I can go. Well, I haven't got fucking time, so it doesn't matter. What shit other than Mercury Star Run are you most excited for? The Reclaimer actually being functional. I mean, there's a huge amount. Padding Merchantman's pretty exciting. They're all exciting. I love them all. Give me all the ships. I want more points of interest there and more places to explore and things. Any idea when you think we might see computer ship components in game? They're building the core computer components at the moment. Don't know when that actually. I don't know the time frame for that. And will it be more? Would it be more functionality than just putting an AI module there and having turrets auto shoot? Yeah, probably. I suspect there's actually going to be quite a lot of function. Thank you very much, Execute Mate. Yeah, so I appreciate the love and support, stuff like that. For looking after family has been erratic, time consuming. I mean, I'm sort of like, I feel privileged and honoured that I can do it. But yeah, it's during lockdown as well. There's no way to vent or blow off steam either, which is made me a bit more irritable. I'm losing weight though, in a good way. Like I'm doing more exercise and I'm eating a lot healthier. It's good. That's actually made me more irritable even. Thank you, I appreciate that. I hit the bell. Do you plan to post as soon as 3.10 drops? Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. I see what you mean on YouTube. Yeah, so when 3.10 drops, I'll probably social media it and I'll quickly get up a... there's anything important with 3.10 as like a... Bam, 3.10's gone to first wave PT or live, whatever. If there's like any other major reveals. And then I'll also do a patch notes video as quick as possible. And then we'll do a load of videos analysing each individual gameplay feature. And then we'll do some gameplay as well. Zin should be joining me pretty quickly on that. Do you think Crusader will be added in 3.11? No, I think it's planned for currently the Q4 patch. What did they say you'll get free after completing the campaign? So, for Squadron 42, they said basically that getting to certain parts in the Squadron 42 campaign would give you the ability to access, whether that's to purchase or buy in some way or rent, military grade items and ships and things like that, or other ships like the F8 Lightning, like some other military stuff. Is there a way in-game to request a landing without using Mobidas or MFD? No. What do you think about the relationship of the RSI Polaris and the Odin gunboat, if that's the thing? Is there a relationship between them? They're both potential combat ships. Do you think they're going to put the C2 in-game later in 3.10 or hold it with the MSR and Mercury Star Runner in 3.11? I think it's going to be a Q4 2020 ship. So 3.12, 4.0, whatever they call it. There's no new news on the whole series beyond that they're working on the rest of the tech now for it, so it can be in-game. They've completed it for Squadron 42's needs as far as we're aware. We don't have a time frame of when it's going to be in game, though. I'd hope that it would be this year, but we don't know. Right. Any other questions quick before I dash off? I'm going to go eat and check on my parents. Do you think players will get to be aliens maybe through quests or as a starter thing? So they talked about this a while ago and said maybe in the future after release they might allow players to play as aliens. So I would expect that in the far future. Just not in the short or medium term. Do you think the Star Citizen will switch to a subscription model after launch? How are they going to pay for servers after you can't buy ships? So, I know a bit about Star Citizen monetization model. Basically, it's going to be semi-dynamic. So if they need to do anything, they'll discuss it with the community and then they'll do it. So if they have to change to a subscription model for some reason, they probably would. But, well, if they had to, then they have to. But the way they plan to monetize after release is they will sell some ship packages. So starter ship packages maybe up to like a constellation level. You can buy your starter package, bam. But they're also going to sell in-game currency. So think of that almost like Plex for EVE, but they're going to sell in-game currency. Now, how viable is that going to be to fund the game? We don't know. We don't know. But they'll look at other monetization as well. I mean, there's going to be event tickets. There's going to be merchandise. There's going to be voluntary subscriptions. And there could be a lot more. I mean, they might run a full EVE Flex model where they go, well, you get some bonuses and advantages and lower tax in-game if you purchase a subscription model. But at the moment, the plans are for Star Citizen to be a buy-to-play game. You don't need any subscription. And they probably wouldn't be able to do a subscription for a good amount of years after the game's released. Or going, well, actually, maybe we need to do something like that. But they basically said that they wouldn't rule anything out in the future. So that's not a confirmation they're going to do any of this. Yeah, I also expect to see skins and stuff like that as well. I'd still expect to see concept ships, personally. But I think they'll go back to concept ships after they release the game. Are they going to put AI droids in game? So they've sort of like... AI to that degree are... in lore, they've always sort of failed. They don't really have AI droids running around. You're going to start a GoFundMe so you can buy Paul Star. I'm good. Happily put on my screen when I'm got sort of like donation and funding goals for. But I'm not going to. Let's buy a space station, guys. Right. I am going to dash. Hopefully, 3.10 will be go to first wave PTU today or this weekend, but we don't know. We don't know for sure at the moment. I was expecting it a couple of days ago. Still hasn't gone to first wave PTU. There's obviously blockers for the EVOCATI for the first wave PTU build that they're trying to hammer out in EVOCATI. But as I said, I'm still expecting it any time. So hopefully I haven't overhyped anyone. Apologies if I have. But as I said, could be any time. We just don't know. The live build is planned for some point in July. Again, I would actually expect that early July, but that's just my opinion on that. What else? Is there anything else exciting? Later on today, we're going to be seeing a calling all devs on PvP gameplay, or at least a focus on PvP gameplay for 3.10 and beyond. So that's actually going to be pretty interesting because I'm hoping that 3.10 helps bring PvP gameplay more competitive and much more enjoyable. General combat and fight, but a lot more enjoyable. But we'll have to wait and see. If you've got any questions from me, feel free to email me at contact@boardgamer.co.uk, or you can go on my Discord. There's an Ask Board thread. If you want to further support the channel, there's the join button. There's direct donations. There's Patreon. There's subscribing in general to the Twitches, all that sort of jazz. But generally, engaging with me, giving me feedback, asking me questions, that really helps. Thank you very much for joining me today. I love your faces. Very much appreciated. Asking the questions and just being here for these live streams is absolutely fantastic for me because I get to interact with you guys and work out what I need to do for content on my channel. So I genuinely really appreciate that. We are going to go and host someone though. Not Streamlabs. Twitch. That's the one. Who is online? We are going to give Super Matt Brothers some love because I've hosted Maya loads over the last couple of days. Well, last few times I've streamed. Flash raid. Give Super Mac Brothers some love. This is where people are going to be going. If you want to join, put it in the chat as well. Bam. Bam. Thank you so much for watching. Genuinely appreciate it. Thank you very much for all the kind messages to my family, to my dad. Thank you very much for all the money. It's very much appreciated. And the subs. Shite, I love you. You're one of the best people in the world. Josh Jerafish Entertainment. Macca. Robert Johnston. Lots of Robert Johnston. I love you. You're the best. Sorry, Mike with the raid. Star Citizen Leaks even giving me money. Why you do this? Fire, thanks very much. I love you. Love you all. You take care. Have a great weekend. And I'll talk to you real soon. Peace.